An important message from Parker and Wakeman for people who have taken the prescription drug VIOXX. The manufacturer of VIOXX has recently pulled this popular arthritis drug from the market over health concerns.
Hi folks, today I want to delve into an incident where tens of thousands of unsuspecting individuals placed their trust in an unscrupulous pharmaceutical corporation.
Show me the money!
And the consequences were tragically severe. We're talking about the VIOXX scandal, which you may have heard of yet not be familiar with the whole story. The VIOXX scandal was a startling revelation within the pharmaceutical realm, where a drug marketed as a revolutionary pain reliever concealed perilous dangers.
With one little pill, taken just once a day, VIOXX can provide powerful 24-hour relief. VIOXX, for everyday victories.
It wasn't too long after hitting the market that disturbing evidence started to mount, linking the drug VIOXX to an elevated risk of heart attacks and strokes. It later emerged that the drug's manufacturer, Merck, had allegedly been aware of these risks from the very beginning, but failed to adequately forewarn the public. The extent of the damage and the deception surrounding it are nothing short of shocking. This wasn't merely a case of accidental oversight, so let's get deeper into this. VIOXX embarked on its journey with immense promise and anticipation, eventually securing FDA approval in 1999. Clinical trials seemed to validate its efficacy in alleviating pain and inflammation, particularly for individuals grappling with osteoarthritis. Yet within the medical community, VIOXX began to raise alarm bells, raising pertinent questions about patient safety. In response to these concerns, Merck initiated the VIOXX Gastrointestinal Outcomes Research study, called VIGOR. This study was intended to shed light on the drug's effects and its potential impact on patients' cardiovascular health. The key findings of the VIGOR study illuminated a higher incidence of heart attacks among VIOXX users compared to those taking traditional NSAIDs. By 2004, under mounting pressure, Merck had no choice but to make a momentous decision and withdraw VIOXX from the market.
We are voluntarily withdrawing VIOXX effective today, and we're taking this action because we believe it best serves the interests of patients.
Subsequently, a deluge of lawsuits poured in from individuals who had endured adverse cardiovascular events while on the drug, seeking legal recourse. These lawsuits were spearheaded by patients who believed that VIOXX had caused them heart attacks or strokes. Their allegations centered on product liability, negligence, and the failure to provide adequate warnings, contending that Merck had concealed the drug's risk from the public and healthcare professionals. The settlement, announced in November 2007, amounted to approximately $4.85 billion and included 27,000 individual lawsuits filed against Merck due to injuries or deaths tied to the drug. During the litigation process, revelations emerged that transcended mere negligence and bordered on outright fraud. Richard Cronmal, a statistician from the University of Washington in Seattle, played a pivotal role as an expert witness in the Merck lawsuits. His analysis brought to light the fact that Merck scientists had been very well aware of the issues related to VIOXX years before they were compelled to withdraw it. Cronmal's study centered on an internal company report dating back to 2001. In this report, Merck's own personnel meticulously documented the outcomes of 2 clinical trials involving approximately 1,000 patients on VIOXX and a similar number administered a placebo. The report presented a grim picture, revealing that 34 individuals who received the drug tragically lost their lives, a stark contrast to the 12 deaths among those receiving a placebo. However, a glaring incongruity surfaces when we inspect how Merck presented these results to the US FDA that same year. It seems that the data underwent a significant reinterpretation. Deaths occurring after patients completed their course of VIOXX were seemingly excluded from the analysis, despite the well-established fact that the drug could lead to complications even post-treatment. This omission downplayed the risks associated with VIOXX. Documents referenced by Cronmal hint that Merck painted the alarming threefold increase in mortality, evident in their own internal report, as minor numerical disparities, likely attributable to random fluctuations. The extensive collection of documents disclosed during the trials revealed additional tactics that Merck might have employed. In cases where a study suggested that VIOXX posed a more significant risk compared to a competing drug, it's alleged that the company opted against publishing these findings or adequately informing the FDA. To secure FDA approval, scientists deliberately structured the trials to draw comparisons with naproxen, a well-known pain reliever sold under various brand names like Aleve, instead of employing a true placebo. This crafty maneuver implied that naproxen shielded patients from heart attacks, rendering VIOXX seemingly less risky by comparison. Merck's manipulation of scientific data went a step further, extending to the practice of ghostwriting scientific articles. Internal records uncovered that in 16 out of 20 papers reporting on VIOXX's clinical trials, a Merck employee initially took lead authorship of the first draft. However, the published versions listed an external academic as the primary author. Additionally, a Merck scientist was found to have selectively omitted evidence of 3 heart attacks from a data set to make the results appear more favourable. Dr. David Graham, the Associate Director for Science and Medicine in the FDA's Office of Drug Safety, testified before the Senate Finance Committee in 2004, acknowledging that the regulatory agency had become, quote, the single greatest obstacle to doing anything effective, close quote, in addressing the VIOXX issue, and that the FDA could have prevented the deaths attributed to the drug if it had fulfilled its function properly. One of the most damning revelations was the perceived collusion between drug regulators and the pharmaceutical industry, which may exert influence over the approval of new drugs. Dr. Graham expressed concerns about the FDA's apparent partnership with the industry, where the FDA received funding from pharmaceutical companies to expedite the approval of new drugs. Dr. Graham underscored the pressing need to untangle what he termed the, quote, pharma-FDA complex, close quote, to prevent future catastrophes like the VIOXX case. He further admitted that the FDA's failure to recall VIOXX earlier could have resulted in up to 55,000 premature deaths from heart attacks and strokes, likening it to allowing 2 to 4 jumbo jetliners to crash weekly for 5 years. He went on to say, nearly 60,000 people probably died from that drug. That's as many of our soldiers that were killed in the Vietnam War, who died as a result of VIOXX use. The scandal paints a chilling reality. Pharmaceutical giants entrusted with the well-being of millions frequently prioritize financial gain over the health and safety of those who rely on their medications. For those in the know, it remains a dark cloud looming over the industry, underscoring the absence of transparency, accountability, and ethical responsibility within corporate culture. The VIOXX narrative underscores the critical need for rigorous post-marketing scrutiny and transparency in the pharmaceutical sector. It goes beyond the erroneous belief that long-term widespread use of a drug inherently assures its safety. Moreover, it unmasked a complex and often questionable relationship between regulators and the industry, one that appears more entwined in mutual support than in vigilant oversight and rigorous regulation. So where do we stand now, 2 decades later? Have these glaring issues been addressed? Can we harbour more confidence in drug safety trials? Has the Pharma-FDA alliance been dismantled? The good news is that I can confirm, having consulted with my friends in the mainstream media, that all of these problems have now been fixed and that we can sleep easy on our beds, knowing Big Pharma has mended its ways and now has our best interests fully at heart. The VIOXX scandal was just a once-off and could never happen again. Well, what a relief that is. Until next time.